I want to take time today to talk about the importance of dating and marriage, but particularly dating and marriage when you have kids, and especially small kids. Now, we all know that children are a blessing from God and they are a pure joy. However, as wonderful as they take a lot of time and attention, and especially when they're smaller, when they're babies or toddlers or just even, under an age where they can really do for themselves. They require a lot from us as parents because they need help with all aspects of their lives. And it is very busy time when they're small. It is a very tired time when they're small. And I know that that tiredness can prevent you from focusing on your marriage and dating and spending that intentional one-on-one time. But I want to tell you that just like you spend all that time with your kids, you really have to be even more intentional when you have kids to make sure that you are spending that one-on-one time with your spouse and cultivating your marriage. And I want to kind of give you an example that might help you to tell you why it's so important, because you hear why it's important, but I want to give you an example of why it's so important. So think of your marriage like a garden, okay? So you have this beautiful garden and you know that garden needs time and attention. And so you get married and you are doing all the things to water your garden so it can flourish and give it sunlight. And you're doing those things by you're going on dates, you're communicating often, you're communicating and talking with one another, you are spending intentional time together, you're connecting intimately, physically, you are listening to one another, you have all the jokes and the things, and you are doing everything that your garden needs so that it can have beautiful flowers and plants, and it's very, very lush. And that's wonderful, right? You've done all the things so your garden can grow. You decide now, okay, now we're going to have kids. And think of your kids as a plant or a beautiful flower in this garden, correct? And it's gorgeous and it brings so much joy. You're so excited about this beautiful flower that has popped up, or flowers, in your garden. And so you have to now kind of, you shift your attention because you want this flower to continue to grow and thrive. So you have to do all the things to nourish this flower. So these are your kids. So you have to put that time into watering your children and taking care of your kids and putting all your focus and effort on making sure that this flower of flowers continues to grow and thrive. But when you do that, a lot of times what happens is you are neglecting the other part of your garden, and that's the other part, is that one-on-one time with your spouse. And we know that in a garden, if you are not watering it and taking care of it, roots are going to start growing up. Roots can choke the life out of your garden and it can kill it. And so that's what happens when you are not making sure that you spend this intentional one-on-one time with your spouse. So having dates are like putting the intentional time, or like watering your garden so it continues to grow. Just like you wouldn't neglect your kids, you cannot neglect your marriage because it needs the same time and attention that your kids need. Not all of the time, but it needs you to make sure that you are making intentional time and effort to invest in your marriage. And so I know it's not easy. Trust me, I know. Like I said, I have 2 kids and I get it. I get that it's hard. You're tired. All you want to do is sleep if you can sleep, But just like that, you still have to make sure that you're putting this time in to invest in your marriage. And so not only is it vital for your marriage, it's so important for your kids too. Now you think about it. Your kids are going to watch what you're doing. They tend to mimic what we do. And so your kids, their first example of a marriage is their mom and their dad. They're looking at you all. So if you want them to also see a healthy marriage, you need to do those things that show them. Part of that is spending that time together. They are going to look at you and what you do, and hopefully they'll see, oh, Mom and dad like to go and spend time together. Mom and dad gotta make sure they date. Mom and dad make sure they take care of one another and look out for one another. So dating is good for you as a couple, and it's good for your kids to see that as well. It's a great example for them. Now I know you're probably saying, that's great. But how do we do this? Because for some people, while they may want to date, they may not have the resources, the financial resources. They may not have someone that can take care of their kids. They may live away from family members. And so that's just not an option for them to kind of leave the house and date. But when I say dating, I want you to know that I don't mean to leave the house. Dating does not mean leave the house. Dating really is setting aside intentional time together to connect, to build closeness, to kind of, build those memories, to kind of get back to one another. So it doesn't have to mean that you have to leave your home. Then I'm not saying you can't leave your home. If that's what you want to do and you're able to do so, please, by all means, do so. But I don't want you to think that you can't date, you can't spend time together if you can't leave your home, or we have small kids, we can't do it. Not true. My husband and I have spent plenty of dates and dated in the comfort of our own home. We still do. Our kids may not be as small, but we still make sure we spend time often. We do that. We go out the house sometimes, but we still make sure we spend intentional time together. And we do that in the house sometimes because that's just maybe, the time that we have. And so we do it at home. So I want you to know that it's okay. You still can make that time together to invest in your marriage, even if you're doing it at home. So I know you'll be thinking, I don't want to plan. I don't want to think about it. I'm so exhausted. I can't think of anything else or planning a date or planning activities and even trying to be creative in doing something. So if you are looking for some ideas of dates that you can do in the comfort of your own home, that are outside the typical cooking a meal together or watching a movie, I've got you covered, okay? So I have developed a list of dates that you can do in the comfort of your own home. They do not require a whole lot of planning or require a whole lot of a financial commitment, but I think they're fun. There are ways that you can connect. There are ways that you can do things together in the comfort of your own home. So I'm going to link that document below so you can check it out. So check it out at your leisure. If you have any questions, let me know. If you do some of the things on the list, reach out and let me know. But I just want you to know I am always rooting for married folks. I want married folks to win. I want married folks to thrive. And I want you to enjoy it at the same time. All right.